Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced a new plan Thursday to help speed up the deportation of undocumented immigrants housed in federal prisons. Under this proposal, the Justice Department would be able to deport an inmate at the end of his or her sentence without having to first hand over the person to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. CBS News Justice reporter Paula Reid is in Washington now. Paula, explain General Sessions' motive here.
Well, immigration has really been one of his top priorities. This is an issue that he and President Trump campaigned on, and they promised aggressive enforcement of the immigration laws on the books. So it seems here they want to implement this program to help speed up the deportation of anyone who's here illegally who found themselves in federal prison.
So why does the DOJ want to bypass ICE, and how will they be able to process these inmates while they're still in prison?
In most cases, if you're here illegally, you find yourself in federal prison at the end of your sentence, then the Bureau of Prisons passes you off to ICE to either be detained further or to be put back in the community to wait for your deportation proceeding. Now, there are just not enough resources. There are not enough judges. There's not enough resources to make this go quickly and efficiently. So the Department of Justice is hoping that they can cut out that step of having to pass people off to ICE and hoping that they can do these hearings, do these proceedings while this individual is in prison, either in person or via video teleconference, and get all the proceedings out of the way so when the sentence is over, they can deport them immediately and not have to take that extra step, not have that extra delay.
So what does this change then mean for undocumented inmates? I mean, obviously, then just the process will be that much quicker.
Yeah, if you are here illegally, if you find yourself in federal prison, and in particular, if you find yourself at one of the locations that has this service, because this is not going to be available everywhere, but they are hoping to add additional judges and additional equipment to be able to do this via video teleconference, means you're going to be out of this country a lot quicker.
Yeah. Shifting gears a bit here, Paula, on Wednesday, the city of Seattle sued the Trump administration over his executive order cracking down on so-called sanctuary cities. And the Attorney General has even said that he may withhold federal funding from these cities that don't comply with federal immigration law. So what's next in that case?
The Department of Justice has not formally responded to that lawsuit, but it's no surprise that this is winding up in the courts. I mean, Democrats, really the only recourse they have against the Trump administration's policies is lawsuits. And we saw that with the travel ban case, and we're seeing that again here. And I've talked to some experts, and there are some questions about whether or not you can withhold federal funding. There's a lot of legal questions to be hashed out about whether or not these sanctuary cities are in violation of federal law.
General Sessions, he's scheduled to speak Friday in St. Louis about violent crime. What are we expecting from that speech?
The speech will be very similar to a speech he gave recently in Richmond. He's going to lay out his strategy for combating violent crime. While crime rates in the U.S. are at historic lows, the Attorney General has seen some increases in certain types of crime, and he believes those are not one-offs, that those are trends that will continue. And he's laid out his strategy to try to stop that. Two specific points in his strategy. One is to target felons who are caught with guns, to revive a program from Richmond from the 1990s called Project Exile that was credited with a dramatic reduction in violent crime in that city. But 20 years later, most of the big studies kind of split on whether or not that program was the reason for that drop in crime. The other point on his violent crime reduction strategy, something that very few people would disagree with, is that he says we need to address the opioid and heroin crisis in this country in order to reduce violent crime.
Yeah, a lot of people on board with that, that's for sure. Paula Reid in Washington for us. Paula, thanks.